For decades, athletes search for a breakthrough to measure power in sports, like running, cycling, football, or any sport where the feet create force. Likewise, strength and rehab experts needed a way to analyze stress on the lower body. This breakthrough has finally arrived with the new RPM² power meter. A lightweight orthotic inserted into any shoe to measure force on specific parts of the foot in real time. Use RPM² with existing Ant Plus wireless monitors, along with Bluetooth connections to iPhone and Android devices. Let's see how Olympic and world champions are using this incredible tool.
Hi, I'm Michael Johnson, four-time Olympic champion and president of Michael Johnson Performance. And we have a great partnership with RPM², and we're just excited about what RPM² is doing and what they brought to the market. Obviously, what we focus on at Michael Johnson Performance is developing athleticism, and so running, power, speed is what we focus on. And so the RPM² device is able to help our athletes to understand better in terms of symmetry where they are and help us to assess those athletes. But then also now with the running power meter, what it's able to do is help us to understand power from one side to the other. And so it's a great tool for me to be able to provide to our coaches and for our coaches to be able to better serve our athletes. So we couldn't be more excited about this partnership and the product that RPM² is putting out.
For us at Michael Johnson Performance, we get the ability to work with elite sprinters, speed people that sprint at very, very high levels and are very competitive at that and are always looking to optimize power for their speed. And it's something that we're learning now, that this concept of power, it transcends speed of all levels, but also of all distances, that actual things like 10,000 meter running or marathon running actually has elements of speed. Those are speed endurance sort of events. And so some of the new concepts, the new school of thinking about power now transcends the sprinter all the way down to the maybe even non-competitive runner, that you must produce vertical power into the ground. And that, whether that's at huge amplitudes and sprinting 100 meters or at smaller, more condensed units for the 10,000 meters, both of those runners need to produce running power down into the ground. And the ability now with RPM² to not only measure that power, to measure the symmetry of that power, to measure potentially the fatigue effects that happen with that power, the bleeds of that power, where is that power leaking potentially from an efficiency standpoint, relates specifically to what we do every day with our elite sprinters out here on this track, but also with you day to day with your runners, be at distances of 100 meters all the way up to the marathon. Power is key regardless if it's a speed or a speed endurance event. And with RPM², you can now measure it, you can monitor it, and you can potentially manage it like never before.
Olympic medalist and 7-time national champion. I'm really excited about what RPM² is doing because it's completely revolutionizing power in cycling. We've had cycling power meters for many, many years, but RPM² is different. It is a very light, portable, easy to travel with insert to your cycling shoes. So just a very thin footbed that is going to make it so that now we can have power on every bicycle with just one power meter. Before, all power meters are connected to either crank-based system or a spider-based system or even a hub-based system on your wheel. And so you have to have a power meter for each and every bicycle that you have. Some people have up to 4, 5, 6 bikes. This is making it so that you can have one power meter that simply slides into the footbed of your shoes. And RPM² is measuring power through a variety of different pressure points in the footbed. So we can also be able to track and analyze where your power is coming from in your foot, which is going to be able to allow us to decide where the most powerful placement of the cleat should be on your cycling shoe. Now, many of our sports, running and cycling, are gravity challenge sports. So you want your equipment to be as light as is humanly possible. Most of the cycling power meters on the market are fairly heavy. And in the 2012 Olympic Games, we used one of those power meters. In the Olympic final, we had to remove that power meter because my event in the Olympics came down to beating the Australians by 0.08 of a second. That could have been because we took that weight off, or we shaved that weight off by taking that power meter off. The problem is now Team USA doesn't have probably the most important data that we have to date of that event in the Olympic Games for future generations to train off of. If we'd had RPM² at the Olympic Games, we would not have to have removed it from our shoes, and we would have that precious data for Olympic coaches for years to come.
RPM² rocks! Even the dog's cheering for RPM². Yes, 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 yes!
Hi, my name is Leslie Patterson. I am a 3-time world champion in off-road triathlon, also known as Xterra Racing. So basically I'm a little bit crazy. I am honoured to be sponsored by RPM². So I've been using a power meter for many years in biking, and the reason it's so effective when the power meter is actually as an insole in your shoe is because you can actually move it from bike to bike. Now I train on a mountain bike, I train on a road bike, and I train on a time trial bike. So instead of switching out wheels or cranksets, you just put those inserts in, you know, obviously in your shoes, and you're going from bike to bike. So it's very, very simple. So that's key number one. Now the second thing that's really impactful about using insoles as your power meter when you're biking is you get to see the different forces between right leg and left leg, also where the forces go through different parts of the foot, and that's really essential to understand, you know, your efficiency on the bike. Any sort of little inconsistencies that you have in your body, any biomechanical issues that of course help with efficiency and economy when it comes to riding, but also on injury prevention. So it's very, very effective tool. So I'm also a coach in addition to a world-class athlete, and I have many athletes, and RPM² is really, really great for them to use. Now RPM² not only is it a power meter for the bike, but it's also a power meter for running, and it also has the ability to analyze foot placement, foot forces, right leg versus left leg, and this is incredibly useful for the athlete, especially when it comes to running. Running is so much about form, efficiency, economy across long durations of time. Now we've never had the ability to analyze this kind of stuff before. So as a coach, I can look at my athletes and say, in fact, I can look at myself and say, wow, you know, I've got a really dominant forefoot strike on the right, but less on the left. What's going on biomechanically that's causing that? For instance, I actually have a very forefoot plant on the left, as we discovered through RPM², and that created a lot of heel issues. I have some stiff heel issues, and that's created further injury issues up the chain, into the hip, up into the back. So by using RPM², we can actually figure out what's going on biomechanically and not only prevent injury or, you know, understand why somebody became injured, but help someone become more efficient and effective when they're running.